because as we're speaking about raises and ways we could do things better and have a healthier business, I would say two things. Number one, look at your appointments for July, guys. Look at the appointments held this month. How are you doing with that? Like, I'll give you an example. In Austin, we are down 38% in appointments. Now, why does that even matter? Well, we're winning already. We already talked about our Texas stats. We're winning. Like, I'm not saying we're not winning, but remember, like, everything that we've done, we have done in the past. And now our conversations, like our contacts and our appointments gone on, they are the predictors of your future, of our future, right? So if you need to make any adjustments, like, this is a good time to make adjustments. So our guest speaker this morning is who is all about maximizing her business. It was, you guys, the number one topic that you guys requested was to talk about how do we get that repeat and referral business? Like, who's doing it at a high level? And I found Christina. Christina is in Gary Keller's mastermind group with us. She runs a really great business. I'm gonna highlight you just so we can, let me spotlight you for everybody so everybody sees. This is Christina. She's beautiful. Tell us your story, Christina.
Morning.
Good morning. Tell us who you are. Where are you from? Like, how'd you get doing all of this?
I'm so amazed by all of you guys at those numbers in Texas. You're like a big brokerage. You're not even a team anymore. You're like a giant, like, powerhouse of a group. Way to go. That's awesome.
They're awesome.
Yeah, it's inspiring. So I'm Christina Ward. I live in Boise, Idaho. I've lived here for 20 years. I moved from San Diego to play volleyball at Boise State. They recruited me. And I plan to move back to the, most beautiful city in the world, I think, San Diego. And then I realized Boise is it's actually, I think, more beautiful in some ways. And so I ended up staying and started selling real estate right out of college at 22. That was 16 years ago.
Wow.
You asked me, was my business, what was that question? Was your business like a business from the beginning?
Yeah. So, like, tell us, okay, so you're in Boise. How long ago did you start? Like, give us kind of like, have you been doing this for 30 years and you just look young, or like
16? Well, no, 20. Wait, yeah, 20 years.
Okay. So 20 years in, how long in real estate in Boise now? 20
years.
20 years. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it started off, little baby, I would call myself a baby realtor, 22 years old, and, just accidentally found people to buy and sell real estate. So it was a huge roller coaster ride. It was a referral business, right? Like, we all have a referral business. It just wasn't very purposeful. And it wasn't until I got to sell real estate through the recession, which was one of the best things I ever experienced. And I'll never be the same. I put a little bit of post-traumatic stress through that. I know some of you guys did it too, but yeah, it's made me better and better with my money, more to, live way below we will always live below our means because of what we experienced through the Great Recession. And then during the recession, I was really struggling. So I think I went like 5 months with no sales. And so I started writing a resume for a real job because I never had a real job. And, and so I started even applying for real jobs. And then Keller Williams was recruiting me. I was at a boutique brokerage. I went to Mega Camp. They flew me to Mega Camp first. I don't know why, because I wasn't selling any real estate, but I got lucky enough to get recruited by them and listen to Brian Kane. Do you guys know who he is?
Oh, yeah.
He's an agent out of San Diego. He had this awesome one-on-one interview with Gary Keller, and I just wrote down every single thing he did. And I decided I'm like him personality-wise, and I just related to him, and I'm just going to copy his business and sell 100 homes by referral. And so then I decided I need Keller Williams to help me do that. I'm not going to do it on my own. I thought about it for a minute, just do it on my own. And then moved to KW, took Bold, and I could barely afford it. My husband questioned that big time because we could barely make our mortgage and just like survival bills, like rice and beans were what we were eating. Started calling 100 people a week and went from no closings in 5 months to 8 closings that June right after Bold. And then the business just took off. It kept getting bigger and bigger after that. And it was all about calling the database and building a purposeful referral business like Brian's.
I love that. So just so that we are aware, like, your first stint at all of this was you doing it kind of just like entrepreneurially. Whatever came to you was awesome. If it didn't come to you, whatever. Like you weren't really treating it like a business. Like what were your results when you weren't treating it like a business? Like did you have like one closing a month, two closings a month, or
Yeah,
haphazard?
my best year with doing it on accident with that before Keller Williams was like 22 or something.
So
But
that was
then
your natural ceiling. Everybody's got a
Mhm.
natural ceiling. Okay.
But then I had like real bad one. Like I think I had a year in the recession with 6 or 7, and that was the rice and beans era. That was a struggle. And and my business looked like this. I would go to a party and I'd walk away with a new client. I'd be like, oh my God, I just like got so lucky, you know? Or I'd walk down the street in Boise, Idaho, run into my husband's fraternity brother, and he'd say, hey, you're a realtor. I was like, hey, and then, follow up. I guess I had pretty good follow up. I'm pretty competitive, and I didn't even know that was follow up at the time. I just was like doing my thing. And so I got lucky. It felt very lucky sometimes. And when I moved to KW, I realized I could get in front of people more and build more relationships on purpose instead of just randomly running into someone. And I do have a big I have a lot of relationships in Boise. I'm really lucky from that, like the athletic department at Boise State. And then I didn't realize it when I married my husband that marrying someone that with a different database is a good idea. So he went to a different university than me. So I'm like the realtor of all of his friends. And then I've been a part of many nonprofits. So I have all these groups of people that I have relationships with. And it's all about, I really think that's the key to my success, is maintaining those relationships.
I love that. I want to make sure everybody heard specifically, you guys, as you're thinking about this, like think of every part of your life as a database relationship, like lever, right? Like if you went to college, those people, right? Your high school friends, those people, and they may not be in the same city. It may be referrals to you, right? Throughout the United States. Your significant other, make sure they're bringing something to the table. Just kidding. But if you're a mom, you've got that, right? If you work out, you've got your workout groups and all of those people. Like every one of us has groups. You've just been on purpose versus on accident, is like basically what I'm hearing.
I want to say something about that too, the groups. I do look at every single person as being my client. Like I meet someone, I'm like, oh, I'm going to sell them a house someday. Like I went into this amazing house last year well, it wasn't last year because that was COVID. It must have been the year before. It was a party. And I thought, oh man, I'd love to sell this house. And I started like dreaming about selling the house someday. And then I got to sell it. It's an incredible property, competed against 4 agents to get the listing. And so I always look at someone like an opportunity to work with them. But there's something that's different where there's some, those kind of people, you can like feel their desperation or their like desire to work with people in a annoying way. And I can't put my finger on it, but it's in a very abundant thing. Like no big deal if I'm not your agent, but I want to be your agent, And how can I add value to them and come from contribution first and see what they need, and then I get to get the business. And I don't even know how to really finger. I did a group called Team in Training where we ran marathons. Have you guys heard of that group? We ran marathons, fundraise for cancer research. I sold like 40 houses from that just a running group. I can't believe it. And there's realtors and mortgage officers that came and went. And you can tell they were there to network. Like they were there to get business. I was there to fundraise for cancer research and help other people do it. And then like they saw, how you show up here is how you show up over there. And then I started becoming everyone's realtor. I wasn't there to be everyone's realtor, but it did cross my mind. My kids' private school, yeah, I want to be everyone's realtor at the private school. I mean, but it's not like I'm annoyingly showing up to everyone.
From an abundance mindset versus a desperation mindset. And that makes all the difference, right? Like attraction versus like gunning them down and trying to like find them, right? I'm really into that. So when you started, everything was just kind of by accident. Whoever you would meet, you would kind of like take in and adopt, and you would make them yours. And now here we are, because the reason we're talking is you've closed 152 homes last year, which is more than any of our individual agents on our team, which is awesome. So let's talk about that. Okay, first of all, before we talk about like how you got your business, what does your team have to look like in order to be able to service this level of business? Like, do you have buyer partners? Do you have administrative staff? Can you walk us through real quick what that looks like?
Mhm. Yeah, I really followed the pretty much followed the MREA model on hiring. And so we have at this time, we have a director of operations, a transaction coordinator in-house, a virtual assistant in the Philippines, a runner, like part-time runner, and we just hired our first listing coordinator. And so I used to have the TC and LC as the same position. And I feel like we kind of hit a ceiling of achievement around that 150, when we had 30 pendings and we onboarded 6 listings in a day, that person kind of fell apart. And so we're really looking to lay a strong foundation. So I know some teams have this kind of administrative staff and they can do 300 units. So I'm super interested in taking that, like laying a strong administrative foundation now and going bigger. And then I'll hire more agents. Right now, we've always been pretty low on agent count and just been really productive. So I have a perfectionism problem. I'm a recovering perfectionist. So I have a hard time hiring agents because I want them to be really, really good they're all my people. Like my Tracy on my team worked with my parents to buy a house. I do not work with buyers. Like she was their agent. She's the best agent in Boise, in my opinion. So Tracy sold 65 houses last year as a buyer's agent, and I did 63 listings. And Alana did the rest to get to 152, and they leveraged through a showing assistant. I think Alana's was like 30 or something. I don't have the math in front of me. So they're really high producing agents that are handed quite a bit of good leads and expected no lead left behind. They're not even leads. They're more like referrals by the time they get through me to them.
Got it. Okay, so what I'm hearing, it sounds like a lot like our teams, where our team has all of the administrative support, and then our agents can build a team within the team and do 152 units like no freaking problem. Okay, I love it. So let's talk about that then. I got so many questions from our agents, and I'm just going to throw them at you. And anytime you want to share anything, you just tell us whatever you want.
Okay.
And just be as transparent and as honest. And I know you're perfect, but if you're not perfect, you can tell us.
I'm not perfect.
Okay, so let's start. How large is your service area? How large is your service area?
We service 2 counties, and it's about 800,000 people, and there's about 8,000 realtors that I know of.
Got it. And then if you drove across it, like how far are we driving, like as a buyer's agent?
An hour.
An hour.
There's traffic. Boise is like the most moved to city in the country now, so it's getting worse every day. But yeah, we drive. We're all willing to go about an hour. I'll go a little bit farther for a listing to the more rural areas, but yeah,
okay.
1 hour.
Got it. And then you yourself personally, like how many hours do you feel like you're working right now? Like in a week?
When I did 50 units, buyers and sellers with EA, that was the most hours I ever did. And I think that was 80. And I think people could do it better than I did it. I just am a perfectionist, like I told you guys. So I make things sometimes harder or do more than maybe I should. Have a hard time saying no or cutting things off. And since becoming a mother, best thing I ever did is it made me more efficient and helped me say no to more things. Mm-hmm. Or say yes to the right things. So I only work about 40 hours a week now. My brain never stops though, because I care about my team and my clients so much. So all the time I'm working, but only really focused in the office 40 hours.
Got it. And then like, how often do you still drive around? I know you don't work with buyers. So are you still, you're going on listing appointments, like a few a week, or what does that look like in general?
My goal is 5 a week. Like today I'm going on 3 for some reason because I'm going out of town on Saturday. That's why. So I'm just bam, bam, bam. And I do go to their home for the initial listing appointment or meet on Zoom, whatever they're comfortable with. But then I'll never go to their house again. I leverage through stagers and our contractors, and we have a pretty hefty like concierge service to get the home ready for sale. So I'll never step foot in their house again. Got it.
Okay. And then last year, as you're thinking about your 152, how many of them were new construction?
Tracy's business, because Tracy's husband was a builder in Oregon, so she attracts a lot of new construction. So about half of her business of the 60 something units was to be built or just, specs. She has about 10 build jobs going right now. So we already have some closings for 2022. She's just really good at repping, and even my leads that are new construction, I say, well, you should talk with Tracy because her husband was a builder and she will represent you better than anyone else in town. But we don't represent any builders on the listing side yet. We haven't found the right partnership.
Got it. Okay. So like say 30 something out of the 152 were new builds, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then everything else was like just a regular resale in some form or fashion. Okay, great. That was a really good question by one of our agents.
Yeah.
And then you told me this, but if you'll tell everybody as we set the stage, what percentage of your business was buyers last year, sellers? I know you work with only sellers, and then Tracy and Elena worked with all the buyers, right?
Yes. So we've always, I don't know why I'd love to be coached by you guys on how I increase my seller business, but it's probably me getting in the way is the problem. And trying to be in control of everything. So the sellers is 42%. And the buyers was 58%. That's been pretty typical with my business. When I was the baby realtor at 22, it was mostly buyers because it was a good opportunity to buy at that time. And I was a child working with children, it felt like. And so that's gotten better. And 64 listings we did last year was our best year. I thought I hit a ceiling at about 50. And so there's been some better systems and leverage where I felt like I could still be with my family like I intend to, and do the 64 listings. I felt good about that time.
Do you work weekends?
Yeah, I have time blocks for my listing appointment like a doctor. So if you call a doctor,
what does that look like?
Well, this changed my life, actually. This was from Tony DeCello and John Vandergeist, who's my MAPS coach. I told them that I was in a room, like the room below Gary Keller's group before I got in Gary Keller's group. And I was comparing my insides to everybody's outsides, and they were all doing so much. And I was like a mom and probably postpartum. And I was like, I can't do what these guys are doing and put my family first. And so I went up to Tony and I said, how do I do all this, but then still protect my time? And he said, time blocking. He just answered with like a 1-word answer. He's like, you just got to improve your time block. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I finally get in this room and I was like, I'm a master of time block. I don't need to be coached on time block. But Tony called John. He asked who my coach was. Tony called John that night or saw him or something. John called me and said, we're going to work on time blocking next week on your coaching session. Send me your calendar. And when I realized I'm sending, you know how if you ever had a nutritionist and you send them what you eat and then you don't eat cookies because you're like, I'm so embarrassed to tell them you ate cookies. So I looked at my calendar telling these guys I'm putting my family first, and my family was not in my calendar. So I changed my calendar before I sent it to John. I pretty much coached myself, I was like, I'm going to do this. And what I did was what I had intended to do for a long time was I time blocked listing appointments for those 5 appointments a week. That's my goal. I think I did I have 7 time blocked just in case it doesn't work for people or whatever. And then I put family in my calendar. So I do an afternoon listing appointment, and a couple nights a week, I do late evenings, and I go home for dinner every night. So even if I'm going back out later at night, I have that family. And has anyone ever erased family time from your calendar? You'd feel like a bad person, right?
Right.
Like, I'm not going to take away my children to go meet with a client, especially maybe if it's like a huge opportunity, I move them somewhere, right? But I'm not going to erase them. And so I have 2 nights a week at 6:30. It also prevents me from driving during rush hour, which I love. So it's efficient. And then I have a Saturday afternoon appointment, and I'm willing to move that Saturday to a Sunday or possibly take a Sunday. I like to be away from my kids a little bit. They're annoying if I'm there too much. And I'd like to skip bedtime routine a few times. Like, that's why I like going out at night, because I'm like, bye. And I have the most amazing husband in the world, and he likes it. And I enjoy being apart from them a little bit.
So for all of you parents in the room, and actually not even, some of you are not parents, and you still feel the guilt of working 24/7, like, replace kids with whatever
health
you do. Yeah, right. Like, replace kids with anything else that's important in your life. some of us who have kids have a built-in, like we have to have them as something important or we're all in trouble. But yeah, your quality of life is really important. And the only way you get to quality of life, guys, isn't working less hours, because then you probably don't have enough income to have quality of life. Let's be clear, right? Quality of life is time blocking. I love that. We weren't even gonna talk about time blocking. So like, sorry, we went down that tangent, guys. All right. What do you attribute such a high repeat referral percentage rate to? Like, what the heck? 91%. I mean, I would say our best agent might get to like 50%, but we're not seeing 91%. Like, what the heck's going on over there?
Well, I think 50% is a really healthy business. Like, if Gary Keller saw this, he'd be mad at me and say I'm not growing fast enough and I need to start failing a little bit more, right? Like, I'm just kind of thinking about what he would say to me. And that's our goal, is to go from keep it at this, maybe 125 to 150 closed referrals a year, and then do another 150 stranger danger business, we call it. It's almost a joke. You're calling from Zillow? Oh, but who referred you? No, we're calling from Zillow. Oh, okay. Like, nobody referred you to us? Like, we like seriously question people when they're calling and we don't know who they are. Anyway, my key to the success is around the relationships. So when somebody asks, how do you sell more houses than me? I say, I have more relationships. And they're really quality relationships. Like, they're authentic, that I care about them. Like, I do anything for them, and I call them. And that's really how we went from those like ceiling of achievement of 20 closings, then to a 30, then to 50, then to 75, 100. I stayed at 100 for a while, especially while I had the babies. And it was calling people and talking to them one person at a time. I'm a really impatient person, like very fast moving, but I slow down for the relationship side, because I find when I spend more time up front with people, my transactions go fast with them, communication goes fast. It's trust. The Speed of Trust is one of the best books I've ever read, because it is true that when we spend upfront time with folks, we can go fast and actually save time. And I also love Susan Scott's book, Fierce Conversations, and especially the part that it's the relationships and the conversations and the relationship, something like that.
Yeah, the conversation is the relationship.
The conversation is the relationship. And when my team comes and shadows me for lead gen, that's what they hear, is like, it's not about real estate conversations with them. It's about their life, and it's their goals and their dreams, and it's listening, which I'm actually not that good at. So I've just learned to ask great questions and dig deep. And then it's really moving that needle forward with them on their goals. So it's a high level. There's another question in here about follow-up. There is a ton of follow-up. And it's not like, are you ready to sell? 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 It's just more.
So walk us through. I want you to walk us through like maybe two scenarios. One scenario is you just met me, like, I'm part of like your workout group or whatever. I mean, I probably would never be, because that wouldn't work out. But if I did,
that is how I meet people. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm just new. And you're going to follow up with me. Now, you like me and you want to follow up with me. What would that look like? And then imagine that I am a past client who sold a house, 2 years ago, and it's going to be like another 3 years probably before I sell another house with you. And yeah, like those are two very separate people. New relationship, old relationship. What does that look like in real life for you?
A lot of times with new relationships or people that are new to town, even if I'm not their realtor, I'm constantly calling like, hey, who do you need to know? How can I connect you? How can I help you get set up in Boise? And it's constantly in service of helping people and connecting. So I really love helping. I love connecting, and I love my contractors and people, like my people, and helping them grow their business is a total high for me. So I'm constantly asking people what they need. In sales, if you find out what people really, really need, like they love market statistics, or they want a vendor list, or they want a friend, then I find out what they need. And if I have that for them, then I have that relationship forever. I do that at open houses for leads. What do you need? And a lot of times it's market information. And so I get their information because I tell them what I have. And then they're like, they're like asking to give me all their information. And market information is actually another part of our 52 touch program of being the economist of choice. And I think that's a really attractive way to find business, is to be really thought of as the best and knowing the most. But that person that's like 2 or 3 years out, the follow-ups are just moving that needle forward slightly, but not hardcore. It's just check-ins. Like, I've been thinking about you. You're on my mind. Are you still planning to move in 2 years? And they say, whatever. Cool. If you found your perfect house, would you do it sooner? Or what's causing, it's just what's causing you to wait 2 years? Or has anything changed for you? It's just really digging. My impatience doesn't naturally have me asking those questions, but I've learned if I don't ask those deep questions, that I don't really find out their true motivation. And when you've got their motivation, or you have what they need, I don't know how they wouldn't work with us.
Absolutely. Can you walk us through your 52 touch system?
Yeah. So it didn't start, 52 touch overnight, right? I saw Brian Kane, I wrote down his 33 touch, and I kind of copied that and then kept adding to mine. So, I think that there's a KW Connect interview with Gary Keller and Brian Kane. It's really good. I'd suggest watching that if you could. So it's 12 print newsletters, and they are like, do you want me to show you them?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We love show and tell.
Okay. So can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I get this from by referral only. And it is a black and white. If there's any luxury agents in this call, you guys are going to cringe. Although I sell a lot of luxury listings now, but still, it's a black and white print newsletter that is like a clean cosmopolitan, and it goes to my clients once a month. And then it's been going out for like 12 years. So it's a lot of my elder clients love it, and then a lot of kids read it, like my clients' kids.
That's awesome.
I'm just looking at this. Oh yeah, here's my e-newsletter. So then there's 12 newsletters that get sent out. We've actually redone this a little bit since it's a little bit even cleaner. But this drops into about 3,000. The print newsletter goes to 1,907 people. And this goes to 3,000 because we don't have addresses for everybody. Like, our most important people get the print, get the full 52 touch. Anybody that I can get an email for gets this email once a month. And so usually this is really old, but usually there's a video of me doing a market update, and I'm sharing my screen and going into charts and graphs, because we have a lot of engineers and highly analytical people in Boise, like a lot of tech industries. But we happen to just have done the home makeover. So we make over a home for a family in need once a year. And these guys happen to be a client of ours that were going through some really scary health stuff with their kids. So we just did painting, landscaping, carpet cleaning, house cleaning, pretty much anything we do to get a home ready for sale. All of our contractors donate their time, and we do a 24-hour service project on a house. So this email had a lot of information about that. We always put our evidence of success. So what have we sold? Put it in there. Sold. We do a family update and a client testimonial, and then what's available. And what this does for me, because I don't usually say to friends or clients like that I'm in the top 0.1% of sales in the country or whatever, but this kind of says that in a hopefully non-annoying way.
Got it. I love, just as a quick little thing, guys, did you guys hear, 1907 is who gets her print, which is like, all of us can build a database that big. Maybe your database is 100 people you start out with. Maybe it's 150, maybe it's 200 people, maybe it's 2,000 people, right? Like you build on what you have. And Christina has built on what she's had. So we're doing 12 print newsletters a year. We're doing 12 email newsletters. What else do you do?
4 phone calls. And to be
Oh, okay.
really, really, really authentic, when the babies were born, we didn't hit the 4 phone calls. So, but luckily the wave kept riding out. And that's where we really hit that ceiling of achievement of 100 to 150, because there is still the machine going, like the touches, but I was just servicing the incoming leads and not really, and following up on leads, because I follow up like crazy with people, because I love that part. It's so fun. But the 4 phone calls, we're getting back to that again now that my kids are 3 and 6, or 4 and 6. And it's definitely hurt our business, and it stopped the growth of the business. I really noticed a difference, and we've even lost some relationships without the 4 phone calls. Most people don't call because they don't know what to say. Do you notice that?
Yes. Tell us what you say. Like, what does that even sound like?
So I make, so the quarterly calls, the first call is, what are your real estate plans for 2021? And then we're quiet. And you listen, right? Like, who do you know who's thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate that I can call today? If they're quiet after a question like that, they're actually thinking of a good answer, right? And then we get all nervous and we start talking about something else. So I just simply ask about their plans. First of the year is fun, a fun year, fun time of, fun time to call. And then the second is spring cleaning. So who do you need to know for your house, or who can I connect you with? It's, spring, a lot of people are doing projects. I've got great service providers. And the third call is around the market. I want to be like your financial planner and do a market review. How many homes do you own? And would you like a market analysis on those homes?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Somebody write that down. I hope you're all writing it down. How many homes do you own? And would you like a market analysis on each of those homes? That is your third call of the year. Okay.
Now, I don't want you to be scared by this, you guys. It's not like,
no, I think
too much work. But like when they say yes, we explain it's a 5-minute CMA. And I even have like a little script in the email that goes to them that says, this is a really fast review of the market. If you want a more detailed review, I need to come to your house and let's talk about moving.
Yeah.
So it's usually a big range, because I don't want to tell them, if I'm doing a quick one, it's not very accurate, like that doesn't feel right to me. So, but it also is a way to get me in the door, like for them to say, well, we actually do need to know, like this was helpful. Now I know, thank you. And then I've planted a seed for the future, we need to really know how much our house is worth, because we're going to move. And then we go to their house and do a more thorough market analysis.
Copy that. What's your fourth call of the year?
Gratitude, which is a fun time of year. So nothing about real estate, nothing about referrals. And it is just in gratitude. I find something that I'm great. Like I remember they referred somebody to me, or I remember they've always been supportive. I kind of make it a little bit about business. Like, thank you for supporting me and helping me grow my business. You've made a big impact on my life. And I'm really grateful for that, connection you did. Or like, I just am specific. I learned that in parenting class, that if you're specific with the way you talk to your children, they get a lot more impact, instead of like, you did great at the soccer game. Like, it's specifically saying, that was awesome how you passed the ball to your teammate and your teammate scored, and you were such a big part of, to be really specific in your gratitude or praise of someone is a lot more impactful for that person, and it makes them remember it forever.
Right on, right on. So like the beginning of the year, like what month are you doing that in? Is that January for you?
Just the whole first quarter, but yeah, it starts in January.
Okay, got it. So okay. Well, you've got a big database, and so if I were sitting in your office and it was first quarter, how many calls? Like, how are you managing making all those calls? Like, is that like, do you do it like every day? Do you do it every week? Do you just do it all in one swoop? Like, what does that actually look like?
So I used to do five mornings a week when I was eating rice and beans for 3 hours a day in bold, and to get to the 100 contacts. And then since having children and getting back to calls, it's time blocked now on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I coach realtor moms on Wednesday morning. So it's my specialty is only coaching realtor moms You're not a mom, you're not a realtor, you're not in my morning schedule. And then Friday mornings I hang with Emma. Now she's going to school full time, so I don't know what I'm going to do, like hang with myself. But I only lead generate for 3 mornings a week, and I usually just work off a list. I like the D2 idea. We haven't gotten there yet. I'll just work down a list and type in some notes, and then our virtual assistant will put it in command. We use command.
Yeah. Hey, well, whatever you use, it works. Right?
It tells me who to, especially with the follow-up. It's opening it up every day and seeing what it says to do and doing it.
Right. How many people would you say you're calling on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays? Like all together? Like what's your game plan for that week?
It's about 20 a day, just the outbound calls. So it's not that much. And actually we're looking at transitioning it to only MVPs now. So that because our next hire is a business development specialist, an inside outside salesperson, but we're not calling it that because they're going to mostly calling our database and then doing some new business calls. So that person will be calling the whole database more consistently with those 4 phone calls. And then I'll be only calling our most valuable people. And that's 250 people that have sent multiple referrals, that have done multiple, like we know they're not working with anyone else. We are their agent. Like I'd even ask them, hey, if you are going to buy or sell real estate, who would be your agent? And they go, oh, you're the only one. Then that kind of person is on our MVP list that goes out of their way to refer. And that's the only people I want to call from now on. So we're kind of in transition of that.
Okay, that makes sense. So right now, like what do your time blocks look like per week? What does that look like for you? I know we have Monday, Tuesday, Thursday where you're calling people. Anything like, can you share your calendar? Is that like a thing?
Sure.
We did not talk about this. So Rob Lund's a great question.
Okay, so, whoa.
Yeah.
So, I'm going out of town on Saturday to do trainer's trainer with NLP. So I'll be gone for 16 days. So that's why it's a little crazy. Like I'm going to go sign contracts with this guy, Tim, listing appointment with Robin and Michael, and then listing appointment with Allie and Mark tonight. So, and so look, I'm doing what I told you guys I would do. I'm going to do an appointment, then I'm going to go see my family, and then I'm going to do another appointment. So I think I erased a listing appointment, but usually I think it's Wednesday night and Thursday night are my listing appointments. And then family movie night is something that I have a listing lead. It's an over $1 million listing lead. The only time they can meet is Friday night before I leave for Saturday conference. I'm not missing. I told them I have family movie night and I could meet them at 7:30 or 8 after family movie night. And they actually they're still a lead. So we're going back and forth, but I think I'm going to get them to agree to that. I'm not missing family movie night. It's like $1 million listing appointment. So the lead gen, let's see did my assistant, she erased. Oh, sorry. I'm not doing anything next week. Hold on, let's go to the future. Yeah, so talent, it's, so I do a market, a live update on Facebook every Monday morning at 9:30. This has been a huge part of my sphere of influence growth this last year, because we did, I think it was 20 friends and family referrals in 19, and then it increased to 40. And I'm pretty sure the only thing I changed was I started doing a live market update every week on Facebook on March 2020 when it started going down, right? Like I was like, oh my gosh, I got to stay on top of the market for my people. And I get stopped in town now. I get stopped out of town, and people call it a broadcast or the news. And I'd love for you guys to jump on. I make it public even, so you guys can come on and ask questions when I do these every Monday morning. It's also changed my agent referrals from 15 in 2019 to 35 in 2020, because agents are seeing my live updates. They're remembering me every week. So then I lead gen for talent, and then I lead gen to the MVPs, and I lead gen to the MVPs, and I do regular lead gen and follow-up. Probably what I'm not doing very well is I'm doing the follow-up first. Do you guys do that? Because it's easier.
Of course.
And I really want to work on and be held accountable to calling new business first, and then having the gift of doing the follow-up. Because the follow-ups, I love setting appointments more than anything. I think it's exciting. So the follow-ups is like a gift to me. And I need I'm working on some accountability around lead gen first, then follow-up after that.
Okay, so we did 12 print, we did 12 emails, we did 4 phone calls. What else are we doing to get this business?
3 to 4 events and a whole bunch of contacts around those events. So
like, what's an example of an event that you have done that you feel like was really a good win?
Well, the pre-COVID events were the home makeover that I told you guys about, which is just getting it like getting a house ready for sale for a listing, but helping a family in need. And then we do a summer barbecue kickoff in June. We do a masquerade ball for only our most valuable clients. So that 250 list, it goes out and it says like you're an MVP, you're invited to this, and grab your tickets before this day, or we're going to invite the rest of the world. And then we do Thanksgiving pies. Mm-hmm. So last year we transitioned. We didn't do the barbecue. We didn't do the masquerade ball. We did the pies, but it was a curbside. We also did a few Zoom classes. So we highlighted local businesses. Like we did a cooking class. We did a dress for success class. Cooking class was with a catering company. Dress for success class was with a local boutique store in town. Like all the people that were really struggling last year, we wanted to help their businesses. So we did free classes and they got to promote to our whole database. That was fun. And then we also did Santa on Zoom. That was the scariest thing I've ever done. I can't believe teachers control like a classroom on Zoom. Like that's crazy. I had 40 kids in Santa and my assistant's computer died. So it was just me like managing all the kids in Santa. It was really fun and interesting. And then we also, 2 events that we added last year because we took away some were family photos in the park. And it was a 2-day event. Photographer was free and they got to promote their business and upsell to our clients and give all of our clients 1 photo. And we had them on Calendly like every 15 minutes for 2 days straight. And then we also did pet portraits in the park. And that was really cool because our like different people came to families in the park, family photos in the park, and a whole different part of our database came to the pet portraits in the park.
Right on, right on. And that's what happens, guys, as you build a bigger database. It's not a one size fits all anymore, right? Like some of your database will come to some things and some of your database will not want to come to other things. So I love that. All right, 12 print, 12 email, 4 phone calls. Let's call it 4 events. What else would you add to your 52 touch?
So each of the events have about 7 touches. So that's what gets to the 52. And then there's also.
So you're just not having an event. You're actually calling and emailing about those events. What a concept. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So easy. I mean, even if people didn't like my 4 phone calls a year, if you just did 4 calls around events, business is going to grow, right? Like it's crazy. The impact usually when I did bold and I really made those 100 contacts a week at a high level, sometimes they were calls around an event and it was nothing around asking for business. And I always get the most business when I actually make those phone calls with a reason to call them and of value. The last touch is a Thanksgiving card. Well, there's 2 touches. There's a Thanksgiving card from my family because I have really cute kids and they're unforgettable. And I just got a listing because they found my Thanksgiving card. They couldn't, so it was kind of sad. It was a mutual friend that passed away and her sister remembered me and she's on my list. And her sister, but she couldn't remember my name. She just remembered she got my Thanksgiving card and kept it somehow and found it. And they called me. I got to list my friend's house. And so that Thanksgiving card is sent out for Thanksgiving because we go out early. So we're we are the first that people, you know how you get so many cards, you like forget who you got them from. Yeah. So it goes out first and it usually gets on people's refrigerators. And then we do a team holiday card. And last year we didn't have a group photo together. So we did baby pictures of everyone. And it was like, guess who is who on the team from their baby pictures. And so we got a lot of call-ins with engagement with people playing the game and guessing who's who.
I like that. How do you train? Do you do something to train your database to,
yes.
Like what does that look like? Because I mean, obviously like you're training them to refer you. Like, what does that sound like? What does that look like?
Well, the result is I get text messages with names, phone numbers, addresses, and from a client that says, my friend's expecting your call. That's the result. And that's like what we pay. We pay for leads like that, right?
Oh yeah.
But they're not even that good. So how I did that is, well, first we do really good work for them. We can't earn that kind of like people going out of their way with average work. So we do excellent work. We think we're the best at the transaction and the service of the client. We always do the right thing. We always pay for things to get fixed as long as they're not crazy. We are doing whatever it takes to make it right and taking full ownership of the transaction. For example, we had like a water thing happen and we put in a French drain after closing because we felt like we should have investigated that further from the inspection and we weren't a good leader in the transaction. So we bought the client a French drain. I'm going back to your question. What was it?
How do you train your database?
Yes, thank you. So when I call them one by one, they always say, you're the best. We always refer you. And I go, oh my goodness. It sounds like that. Wow, thank you. Thanks for always referring me. I can't believe it. That's so nice. Hey, you know what? I've never heard from any of your referrals before. And we kind of laugh. I'm like, it's okay. Like you referring is the best. Like I can't even, I'm so grateful for you. But next time, because most people don't call people they don't know, do you mind just sending me a text with their name, their number, their address, all the situation, and I'll just reach out to them. And you know me, I'm just going to be helpful and see if there's anything we can do to help.
So you're actually telling them like, so when they say, of course we'd refer you, you're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. I've actually never worked with anybody you've referred. So can we switch it up and can we do it this way? And that puts you in control of the relationship when they refer the person over versus like you're proactive versus reactive, right? I like that. And you know me, I'm going to be helpful. Okay. So as you're thinking about your business now, right? Like we know, like I can very clearly see, like I've been taking notes. I can clearly see you're getting your print marketing out, you're getting your email newsletter out. And guys, for us, essentially, like, do people read newsletters? I don't know. Maybe they do. What they do see is your name every single time, right? It's no different from like a market report of any kind. Like, guys, it's just getting like, it's like Amazon sending us something every single day. Well, we don't want to send it every day, but I do like this whole week, monthly thing. She's spending the most time though in her phone calls to her people to follow up with her for planned phone calls. And then now all of this, like I know you want to build your business past 152. What's your plan for that? Like,
yeah, so it's
where's new business coming from?
I'm ready to leverage through people. Part of my biggest, if I could go back and do things differently, I would have taken more risks and hired more people and not held tight to so many things. Because I know I'm good at a lot of things, but I can't do it all. And it's not fair to my family mostly. It's not fair to the team to keep that from them. So I'm really working on myself this year and last year on letting go and hiring the right people. In training. So now that we have a listing manager, that's going to take a lot of time off my plate on really like giving a great Ritz-Carlton experience to our listings. And I just literally go on the appointment, sign a contract, and pass it up to our awesome new person, Kristen, that's starting in 2 weeks. And then I will have more time to lead generate, which is exciting, and go on even more MVP lunches or, connect and really build those strong relationships that built this business and go back to what is the most important part of our business. And the next hire is business development specialist. And that person's I'm not going to stop lead generating. That's a super important job. I'll lead generate till I die. And I'll have somebody else also calling the database and finding a couple new levers of business. Because right now, besides the 91%, it's agent referrals, past client repeat, sphere of influence, even professionals referring to us. All that 91% is referral business. The other percent is teaching classes. So I teach buyer and seller classes in town, and we do open houses. So we'll continue to do that and do that at a higher level, and then probably add one more lever of business. And I'm thinking it's going to be building social media closed groups around neighborhoods and calling around those neighborhoods, and then also having value and developing a community, and potentially even like a closed moms group, or like just building more like social groups. That is our style. It adds value to people, but then we're going to really purposefully call around those.
I really like that. I think what I hear you saying, and I think this is really important for all of our people, she has found the communities that she feels really confident and comfortable and excited about. And she's going to build all around that. It's no different from you guys finding a farm that you're really excited about. Her farm is going to be her mom's group, right? As opposed to a location, it's a group of people, right? Your farms can be groups of people. It can be locations. It can be so many things, right? We're all doing the same thing. We're just doing it slightly differently. But you know what, like her superpower is her consistency around the calling portion, right? Because the second you take that away, like your business is plateauing, right? And in fact, given enough time, it's going to die without those phone calls, right? And so I think that's really, really important. I guess one real quick question. A lot of people hear you say, I want to grow my business and I'm going to, add another person or whatever. Like, what's your mindset around like all these things cost money? And like initially you're making less money. Like that's like, a lot of people don't want to hire their first like buyer partner because now they have to like give up money. Like, what's your mindset around all of that?
That's a good question. I worked out with my coaching clients on that this week. Because the last 12 months, my business has net $1 million, and we've never done that before. And that was a slowly then suddenly thing. And there was a lot of years where I was like, this sucks. Like I'm just making $400,000. And Tracy was making $400,000, my buyer's agent. I was like, I'm just going to be a buyer's agent. That looks easier than doing all this. And so I kind of felt like it felt unfair for a while because there was a lot of sacrifice and lower profit, and it was a lot of hours to get there. And now, and maybe it's a little bit of the market, like I'm selling a lot more luxury houses and our prices are up, so our profitability is really high. But it does feel like I'm coming up for a lot more air and in a much better financial position to take more risks. And now looking back, I see I could have taken more risks before, but I think it's partly the recession that hurt me so bad, where it causes me to want to hold on to money so tightly and save it and never let go, and realizing that money is energetic and it comes and goes. And instead of thinking like I lost it all and I could lose it again, I need to change my mindset to I built something big from the hardest time in my life, and I could build it again if I lost it all. And so I'm just ready, more at a better mindset, ready to go for it and take risks instead of hold tight to all of my jobs and hold tight to all of my money. And we're 40% profitable this year.
Wow, that's amazing. Right on.
Why? Like, how dare me keep opportunities from other people when I have enough for myself and my family, and even for the future if there's hard times. And I just intend to start giving more of it away. And I'm pretty sure that's going to continue to grow it.
I love that. Sarissa, you had a question.
Yeah. So one thing that I've struggled with, and I know some of my teammates struggle with, is, when your business does come so much from your sphere of influence, how, as you start to remove yourself incrementally from the transaction, do you hand up to your next person that's actually going to take over the transaction? And what is your script for that, if you've got one yet?
I love that question. And I struggled with it when I first had my first buyer's agent. What I realized now looking back is I didn't have the 100% complete confidence in her or myself to do that pass off. And I got buyers back when I did that. So she wasn't the right fit and I wasn't doing the right handoff. Now that I have the right people that are really well trained and are seriously better at the job than me, it is really easy to hand up. So here's what it sounds like. It's the sooner the better, by the way. The sooner, like as fast as you can hand up your people, the better, because we like get into these relationships with people and then we can't let go and they keep calling us. So I was talking to my friend this week. She wants to sell a house and buy a house. And I was their realtor 7 years ago, the buying and the selling and all the things. And one of Lane's fraternity brothers' wives is who I was talking to. So it was great. And I said to her, I was like, Jackie, things are a little different over here. Have you heard? And she said, no. She's like, well, yeah, it looks like you're selling this house. So like, yeah, I have a team now. So remember our transaction last time, we did everything together. That was super fun. I'm so grateful to be a realtor. I'm grateful you called me back this time about the next move. I have Tracy now. Can I tell you about Tracy? And she's like, sure. Tracy is the #1 buyer's agent in the entire Boise area. She sold 65 houses last year, and all she does is work with buyers. All I do is work with sellers. Tracy's clients often say that they felt like she was their only client. She is a great negotiator, a great listener. Her boots are on the ground. She knows all the inventory out there. I have literally not shown a house in 2 years. And Tracy's going to contact you about getting a buyer, your buyer needs going, so she can start sending you listings. And then I go into what my job for her will be, is I'm still a part of that transaction. And then I'll be your listing agent along with Aiden to help support you in the listing. So I just go into the team. And I said, often when I'm competing for a listing or for a buyer, I say that there's never been a better time to hire a specialist in this market. Can I tell you why? And I go, sure. Well, buyers agents are working 10 times as hard, writing 10 times the amount of contracts they've ever done because of the low inventory. So if you have an agent that's doing listings, that's doing admin and working with buyers, they're going to be spread really thin. You're not going to get the communication you deserve, and you probably will miss out on houses. And so what we need to do is get you with a specialist that's going to devote all of their time and energy and specialty to you, so we can actually get your home sold for top dollar and get you the right house.
Thank you. So awesome.
So that was kind of 2 different scripts. That's like, I'm talking to a person that I know that likes and trusts me, that's worked with me before, and I'm passing them off to Tracy. And then Tracy does the heavy lifting. Like, she's incredible. So she just calls them right away. No lead left behind with Tracy. Like, she has a book and she runs around. Like, one time she lost it and it has all of her stuff in it. She just handwrites everything. She uses command and uses follow-up, but she writes everything down in one book. And she never lets, we should probably interview Tracy. I don't know how she does it. Like, she never nothing has ever slipped through the cracks with her. And she's just so communicative and responsive. And that's what my clients often tell me, the responsiveness. And then they work with me and I'm a little bit less responsive, and they're like, where's Tracy? Responsiveness is what, from NAR research, is what buyers want the most, is a responsive agent.
Right on. I love that. Guys, when I was talking to Christina, she said that she's got like some stuff that she can share with us. So not right now, because I saw your schedule, you've got an appointment right after this with a tenant. And so which is awesome. This is what happens when you run an actual calendar. So at some point today or tomorrow or this weekend, she'll send us anything she is willing to share with us, and I will share it with all of you guys. There is no reason to ever like reinvent the wheel, guys. There are smart people like Christina who are already doing what we want to do, guys. And we will take that hand up of anything that she's willing to share with us, because we're so impressed. We all want to be able to, maybe it's not 152 closings, maybe it's 15 closings, maybe it's 30 closings, but we want to have the service level and the repeat and referral business, people trusting us at that level. So we would be so appreciative of anything you would be willing to share with us.
I'm going to share all my goods with you guys. Aiden's going to share it, actually. And thank you for reminding me I have to go see a tenant. Yeah, it's crazy that the amount of work that's just piling in as I'm trying to go out of town. It's like, that's like the law of real estate, right?
Yeah. You guys, if you're ever not busy, just plan something. Just how busy you'll get if you just try to take some time off. I love it. Okay, guys, have a good rest of your week. Christina, you rock. We're going to have you back because there's so many things to dive into. Love you guys. Have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you. I'm putting my Instagram handle on there just in case you guys need it. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.